February 6, 2025, 9:21 a.m. The USS Mason, an American Navy destroyer, was patrolling the southern Red Sea. Clear skies, calm seas, a normal morning in one of the world's busiest and most tense maritime corridors. Then, everything changed. A missile launched from the cliffs of western Yemen, fast, silent, and unexpected. There was no radar warning, no communications, no satellite signature. Just a sudden burst of smoke from the hills and a sharp streak across the sky. A direct threat was now heading for a U.S. warship. But very soon, the Houthis would realize they had made a huge mistake. For months, the Houthis had been attacking ships in the Red Sea, mostly targeting those carrying American, British, or Israeli flags. In their view, these nations were responsible for the ongoing Israeli actions against Palestinians in Gaza. To them, every Western warship was part of that equation. The weapon wasn't theirs. It was an Iranian-made anti-ship missile, simple, modified, and deadly enough to cause real damage. The launcher had been hidden between two ridges near the coastline. It was wheeled out, fired in less than a minute, and pulled back under cover. The drone overhead, a basic recon unit, was the only system still airborne, feeding back visuals from above. The missile followed preset coordinates toward the USS Mason. It flew low, fast, and silent. Aboard the Mason, sensors picked up the threat seconds after launch. The missile was fast and closing. The ship was operating at a slower cruising speed, escorting a commercial vessel through one of the busiest lanes in the region. Defensive systems were on, but nothing suggested a high alert was needed that morning, until now. Emergency procedures kicked in. Engines powered up. The ship increased speed and changed heading. Radar operators locked on. Weapons teams moved to standby. There were less than 70 seconds before impact. The missile entered its final dive, locked on the ship's last known position. It had no onboard radar, just a basic seeker relying on infrared and programmed data. The Mason was already in motion, throwing off the missile's approach. Defensive systems opened fire. Seconds later, a mid-air detonation lit up the sky behind the destroyer. The missile had missed by less than 300 meters. No casualties, no damage. But no one on that ship considered it a small incident. Within 20 minutes, surveillance aircraft orbiting above the Red Sea intercepted drone footage showing the missile's flight. The drone was small, likely commercial grade, and operating in uncontrolled airspace, an easy target for interception. The drone's signal led analysts to a patch of coastal terrain west of Mocha. That narrowed the search. Thermal scans from a nearby satellite showed a spike in heat moments before the explosion. The image matched the cliffside coordinates, confirming the launch zone. U.S. Command issued an immediate tasking order: neutralize the site before another launch could occur. By 10:17 a.m., 2 U.S. Navy jets lifted off from a carrier stationed in the central Red Sea. They were airborne within minutes. Their mission was short and clear: eliminate the launcher and prevent any follow-up attacks. As the aircraft approached the Yemeni coastline, electronic surveillance confirmed no new radar signals in the area. The Houthis had powered down everything after the first strike, trying to vanish. But it was too late. The launch site had already been tagged from space and air. The strike team split. One jet climbed and released its payload onto the coordinates identified by satellite. The other remained on overwatch. The bomb hit the cliffside installation. Fire and debris burst outward. The launcher was destroyed. Minutes after the first impact, as dust still hovered over the coastal ridge, a second thermal scan revealed another heat signature, this time deeper inland. Roughly 2 kilometers from the initial launch point, hidden in a shallow valley between two hills, was a second structure. Satellite imaging showed signs of recent vehicle movement, power generation, and heat from inside the shelter, likely a command post or drone control station tied to the strike. The order came immediately: redirect and eliminate. The lead jet broke formation and adjusted course. 30 seconds later, it released its payload. At 10:41 a.m., the second strike hit. The valley lit up. One primary structure took a direct hit and folded instantly. Two adjacent outbuildings crumbled under the blast wave. The thermal feed spiked, then went cold. No secondary explosions, no survivors fleeing, no more signals transmitting. Silence. The second site was gone. The U.S. aircraft didn't linger. They circled once, high and slow, capturing confirmation footage, making sure there was no remaining movement, no retaliation in motion, and no further targets. Then they exited the airspace, heading back toward the carrier group. Back aboard the USS Eisenhower, the Carrier Strike Group's command center reviewed the live footage coming in from the jets and satellite assets. The first two sites were neutralized, but command had eyes on a third location. Roughly 5 kilometers north of the second strike zone, a small compound with multiple antenna towers and heat sources had been spotted. Analysts believed it was either a drone relay station or a communications hub used to coordinate launches and relay surveillance feeds to Houthi commanders deeper inland. The Eisenhower's operations chief gave the green light for an immediate recon pass, this time lower and slower. An MH-60R Seahawk helicopter was dispatched from a nearby destroyer, skimming low over the sea before banking inland toward the compound. It was equipped with advanced thermal sensors and visual surveillance gear, allowing the crew to verify structures, detect movement, and confirm any potential military presence on site. As the Seahawk approached, it hovered at low altitude, scanning the area. There were no civilian vehicles, no farming activity, no movement outside the buildings. Inside, the sensors detected small generator heat signatures and radio frequency spikes. It wasn't just a shelter, it was live. Within minutes, approval came from the Eisenhower. One of the returning jets was rerouted mid-air, armed with a precision-guided munition. At 11:06 a.m., the third site was hit. The explosion wasn't as large as the first two, but the effect was just as clear. The antennas snapped. The roof collapsed inward. Whatever relay system they had was gone. The Seahawk circled once more, captured video, then turned back to sea. Back at sea, the USS Mason resumed her patrol. Defensive systems powered down, crew members rotated back into routine. But the mood had shifted. This wasn't just another Red Sea incident. Not a harmless drone buzzing overhead, not a small boat probing the perimeter. This had been a serious strike. A coordinated, silent attempt to destroy a U.S. warship in broad daylight. And for 70 seconds, it nearly succeeded. The missile flew low, it flew fast, and it came too close. What rattled the crew wasn't just the missile, it was the precision of the launch, the silence, the timing. No announcement, no warning, no claim. The Houthis hadn't fired this one for social media. It wasn't meant to be shared, it was meant to kill. It was a statement without words. But it failed, and that failure didn't go unanswered. In less than 2 hours, the launch site and its support structure were gone, reduced to smoke, rubble, and thermal ash. If you want to see more real war stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.